Hey everybody, Dan Hellie, McKenzie, Pavacich here. This is About Last Fight, a UFC and Fanatics original production. What is up, everybody? What an incredible night of fights. McKenzie, Pavacich, Dan Hellie here with you. It's called About Last Fight. This is our maiden voyage, our first ever podcast. We talk to every single main card winner, including our two champions. They got to sit right there on that couch. And what a perfect capstone to what has been an incredible week.
Absolutely an amazing week. International Fight Week is always really special, but this one, it felt even busier. We get back from our first event in Azerbaijan, straight into UFC BJJ1.
No rest for the weary.
No rest for the weary. We had Power Slap. We had our boxing press conference. Incredible. And I want to say, we haven't held a ceremonial weigh-ins inside T-Mobile Arena since Conor fought Dustin years ago. We held it in here on Friday, and there were more people for this ceremonial weigh-ins than there was for that Conor fight, which I think is just a testament to how much we're doing, how much the sport is growing, and the fact that we've got some superstars that made some crazy statements tonight.
And maybe the biggest superstar of them all is Ilia Topuria. This guy, I think the best way to say it is, right, every guy wants to be him. Every woman wants to be with him. I mean, he's an absolute stud. He looks the part. He acts the part. He's an assassin inside the octagon. And he does it again. He keeps his promise. He gets a first-round knockout of one of the all-time greats in Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, and I think it was John Anik that said it and said it best, that he receives a lot of boos because he's knocking out a lot of the fan favorites. And I think the other thing is he goes and does something that's unfathomable to so many people, and he does it exactly the way he says he's going to. And you either absolutely love it or you hate it, because it's hard to imagine what it's like to be that exceptional of a human, that exceptional of an athlete, a fighter, that you can say, I'm going to finish Charles Oliveira in the first round and do it under 3 minutes.
So his last three fights, he is just slaying legends, right? Volk, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, knocks them all out, becomes the 10th two-division champion in UFC history. He is the first undefeated champion in UFC history. And if he's not the biggest star in the UFC right now, he is well on his way.
I think it might be safe to say that he is, if not the biggest star, I'd say top 3. Because the numbers that he draws in, the interest that we see, not only in person, but also online, the digital footprint just increases exponentially anytime Ilia fights. And you see it throughout the entire card too. Like I look back on interviews that I've done on cards that Ilia has fought on, and even the people that were fighting on the prelims get more views than they usually do, right? Because people are checking to see, has Ilia fought yet? What's the result? Did he say, or did he do what he said he was going to do? I think he really lives up to this El Matador nickname too. I mean, if you think about the 3 people, the legends that you just mentioned, to leave the rose in the octagon for all 3 of them, that's just living up to the legacy that you say you're going to be every single time he steps in there.
Well, and if it's possible, it might have been even more interesting in the octagon after he knocked Oliveira out. Paddy Pimblett comes into the octagon. All the challengers, Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett, were octagon side watching this fight. Pimblett, the lowest ranked of the 3, Arman Tsarukyan, the highest ranked of the 3. And we've heard Gaethje say that he is not going to fight again, maybe going to retire if he doesn't get a shot at the title. But it's Pimblett who comes into the octagon after Joe Rogan tells him to come up in there, and things get a little bit spicy.
Yeah, so of course, we had to ask Ilia about it. Here's what he had to say.
I'll be honest. When he walks into the room, I never feel less handsome. Like, it's not fair. Like, this guy comes in, he's just like the perfect guy. It's ridiculous. And now he's champ, Ilia Topuria. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I mean, what a performance tonight. You've been an absolute legend slayer, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about what happened after the fight with Paddy coming into the octagon. Dana's already said that should have never happened, but it did, and it got a little chippy in there. What were you thinking when he walked in there?
I don't know. That's the fight that I think everyone wants to see. Maybe not. That's not the fight that I'm gonna get in my next fight. But hopefully he's gonna get a fight. He's gonna get a win, and finally, we have that fight. A fight where 2 fighters really want to fight with each other. You know, with Charles, I had a little bit different situation because I like the guy. I wanted to hate him during the fight week, but it was like you see him with his family. He's surrounded with his team, friends, family members. It's like you can't hate a guy. So I didn't like that experience. I don't know if I want to have it again. I prefer to fight with guys that I really want to fight them. So with Paddy, it will be much better.
You already have a nickname for him.
For Paddy,
Yeah.
he's a pimple. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to touch on what you said. I don't want to assume for you, but really the last 3 people that you fought have been fan favorites, absolute legends of the sport. And I would imagine that same difficulty that you had tonight, maybe not tonight, but throughout the week with Charles, was it similar with Volk and with Max? And when you look back on just the body of work that you've put on against 3 absolute legends of the sport, I mean, obviously you're able to set the feelings aside.
With Alex and with Max, it was a little bit different because they were talking a little bit of trash during the fight week. They were acting a little bit different, but you can't even compare the situation with Charles. Like, he's really nice guy.
Yeah. He is. And no one has done to him what you did in that octagon. In under 3 minutes, you put Charles Oliveira away. You've become the only person in UFC history to claim belts at 2 different weights and do it while being undefeated. We talk, you and I, all the time about your legacy, and you've called all of the shots, and you've done exactly what you said you're going to do. I'm just curious to know, like, do you wake up in the middle of the night and say, first round finish over Charles? Or is it while you're training, you feel really good with your striking, and you're like, yeah, this is going to end in the first round? Like, when do these, like, manifestations start with you?
Since the moment that I get the confirmation of the fight, I start watching all his fights because, of course, I'm a fan of the sport and I always used to watch the fights. But when I get the confirmation about I get like a specific name, I used to watch more fights about my opponent. So I saw him, and I was like, what he's gonna do? He's not gonna be able to do anything against me. He doesn't move. Like, the only time that takes me always to knock out my opponents is the time that I need to close the distance. But with him, I was like, he walks forward. He doesn't even know how to walk backward. So I'm going to knock him out really quick because we are going to find each other in the middle of the octagon. And once I'm going to start to combine the punches, you're not going to see me coming. And this is what I used to say, like, he's on the highest level of the sport, but I'm the next level of the sport. And it sounds a little bit cocky. But
a little bit.
No one, yeah, it sounds a little bit cocky. And I understand that because sometimes I used to watch also my interviews and I watch myself and it's like, yeah, it sounds a little bit cocky, but that's the truth. I know how much hard work I put into this project, which is this sport for me. It means like a lot for me. So I used to work really, really, really hard. I used to study like everything. And I know what I'm able to do. And at the same time, I know that no one can match my level of skills inside the octagon. And I prove that all the time.
All right, I have to tell you the truth about something. When I saw you take the picture with both belts, I'm like, oh, that might be bad karma. And then I see what looked like a victory dinner last night, right? You're on the table, the video, it was awesome. But I'm like, man, I hope he can follow through on the promise. But your confidence level is so high that type of thing doesn't phase you at all, does it? Because you just you have this inner confidence.
I have that confidence inside myself. And I never doubted myself. There's no doubt, never ever. Because once you start doubting yourself, that doubt increase, and it switch into fear. And I don't want to experience that fear before the fight because it's terrible. I had that kind of experience before when I was fighting in the beginning of my professional career. I used to doubt a little bit about myself. I was like, well, if this happens, if he's gonna take me down, if I'm not gonna be able to connect the punches, if this or that. Now I'm like, no way. I'm not gonna travel in the future. I'm not gonna think about if this happened, if this not. I'm gonna be ready for everything. I'm ready for everything. I'm ready for the victory. I deserve that because I work really hard, and and like I used to say, the belts are earned in the trainings. In the competition, you just go to collect them, and this is what I did tonight.
Who do you want to face next? If you can pick your opponent, who do you want to see next?
I don't know. Right now, we don't have more legends in the sport, I think.
I think there
Who
might
else
be
we have?
one. I mean,
Tell me.
I
Who?
would classify Justin Gaethje as a legend, and you have moved up to a
Por
division.
favor. Por
where-
favor. Por favor.
Ilya, come on, we've worked together for so long. You know that, like,
Justin Gaethje.
yes,
No, por
Justin
favor.
Gaethje has
No.
done so much for the sport, has so many incredible fights, future Hall of Famer. I put him in the same regard as the three people that you have just finished all in a row.
Really?
I do. You don't?
So the only thing that I realized is that you don't like the guy, because I don't know if why you want him to put him against me.
You know what? You used the word cocky. I wanna point out that the difference between cockiness and confidence is what you do to actually succeed. And I would argue to say that you have an insane level of confidence, not cockiness, and that's why you are the lightweight
Thank you very
champion of
much.
the
I
world.
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course,
Thank you
Ilya.
very much.
Congratulations. We
Hold
can't wait
on.
to see you
I
back.
want to
Oh,
rewind. Like, I don't know that you ever gave me. Did you give us a name? Like, if you had to pick somebody who you want, if it's up to you,
It will be Patty, probably.
it would be Patty.
Yeah, because that's the guy that I really would enjoy to punch him in the face. Really would enjoy that fight.
It's been years
And
in the
I know
making.
that I can do with him whatever I want to do. Like, even tell me, kid, what you want me to do with you. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I don't want to use bad words, but yeah.
Well, this is the last question. I know you have to go. Thank you for taking the time. I know
My
you've done a lot of
pleasure,
interviews
always.
tonight. On the weigh-in show, I can't remember if it was DC or Bisping, but they said this guy could be the first 3-division champion in UFC history. And I know it's early. I know you just moved up. But is that something that you've thought about?
I thought about it, but the last conversations I had with the UFC, they personally asked me the favor, like, don't tell us after the fight that you want to move to the welterweight division. Made us a promise. And I was like, promise.
Were you crossing your fingers though?
Yeah.
Because that
I was
that
like, I
would,
swear to promise.
All right. For now.
Yeah.
for
All right.
now.
Champ.
That could be
Congratulations.
happen.
The 2 belts look good next to you, my friend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My pleasure always.
That was Ilia Topuria, the 13th undisputed lightweight champion. And if you want to celebrate his big win, head over to ufcstore.com and grab one of his winner tees. Dan, maybe a pair of the custom shorts?
I love them. Speaking of custom shorts, Pantoja had some pretty nice custom shorts too.
I have like my top 3, top 5, and Pantoja's are definitely in the top 3.
And he absolutely took care of business in the co-main event against Kai Kara France. I thought it looked easy. He didn't say it looked easy, but he was so calculated and so dominant early on in that fight by taking the back that he never gave Kai Kara France a chance to really show that one-punch power.
Yeah, definitely not. And it was so efficient, like the takedown straight to the back, straight to that body triangle, straight to those submission attempts. I think you said it perfectly. There wasn't really a chance for Kai to capitalize on any of the things that he's really, really good at. And I think that speaks to just how good Alexandre Pantoja is. And him being in that pound for pound, tied for number 9.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked to him, which you guys will see in a second, about maybe moving up in those pound for pound rankings, but maybe it's being at 125 pounds that gets him overlooked a little bit. But every single time he enters the octagon, every minute he spends in these fights, he gets better and more confident. And I think that just really speaks to the legacy that he's building for himself.
Had crazy pace coming out in the first round, took the back. And then you saw, I think, with Kai that he just became more hesitant because he didn't want to get taken down again. And then he does. And then, of course, it ends in signature Pantoja fashion with that rear naked choke, which is what, his 9th rear naked choke in his career?
Yeah, his 9th. And his second over someone named Kai, which is something that we chatted with him about. Here is Alexandre Pantoja.
Alexandre Pantoja, your fourth title defense. You passed Demetrius Johnson for most finishes in division history, and you're not even breathing hard, man. I mean, you made it look easy once again. What was it like in there?
No, it's never easy, when you have a high-level fights in the octagon, inside the octagon it's very different, things like go in slow motion sometimes twice speed, that's so crazy. A lot of things pass in your head in a fraction of the seconds, It's better than Metro Johnson still retired, it's better it's not back. I think it's the right way. Maybe he's still at his butt in the couch and talk in the podcast and things like that. It's better he's not come back.
That's a change from December, because you and I chatted backstage after that win, and you said you wanted him to come out of retirement. So a change there, and also a bit of a change in the demeanor post-fight in December in the octagon. And there's so much celebration, and this time you just got on the cage and you had a very stoic, very serious face. So why the change? Where did that come from?
Now I can talk. Maybe if I lose tonight, I'm not gonna talk about that. But all training camps different. A lot of things come passing in a couple weeks of the training. I got a staff. And I think everybody realized how bad stuff can make that infection can kill your body inside. The problem the Ben Askren have is about the staff too. And I have this staff. I try to use antibiotics. This is 3 weeks for the fight. And then because I use these antibiotics, I got a flu and some phlegm in the chest.
Yeah, fluid in the chest. Mm-hmm.
And that's so crazy, And I just want to enjoy the moment to say thank you to my wife, because in the same time I'm in the home, I'm really hate everything. And my wife talked to me, hey, you're not happy with everything you have. You're not happy because you go to the gym. You need to be happy, Now you have everything you wish, and that's change everything, I put my mind the right way, and I'm starting to feel happy, It doesn't matter if I have some problems, and I want to enjoy this moment to say that's a huge lesson God gave to me, because now I'm the champion in so much things. It's easy right now because I have money. I can pay a lot of things I can pay before, but God gave me this little troubles in my training camp, and make this training camp hard. Everything is so hard for me. Not the cut weight, but my weight go up and down, and I realize I need to be a warrior. My mentality warrior. And pass through for everything. And oh my God, I just want to say thank you, God, and enjoy one more time to this moment. When you want to try to talk to God all the time, but when you want God talk to you back, you need to put your knee in the ground, and then you're gonna listen to God,
I think in a moment like this, especially now knowing a staph infection 3 weeks out from a fight, not many people know how much of an impact that really has on the training. You have to protect your training partners. You might not necessarily go into the gym. You have to get really creative with how you prepare for the last bit of a fight camp. But you've always had this challenger mindset. You've told me before, I'm not the champion when I enter the octagon. I have the opportunity to fight to claim the belt again. And I think with this adversity that you faced, that challenger's mindset that you've always had really carries you through this, it seems.
That's a God talk to me all the time, that's a message I try to listen to, I think one gift God give to me is learning fast things, and I learn fast, I know what give to me, what God wants about me, and when you see me in the octagon, you can see I'm the challenger, I want to take this belt again. Like I say, when I'm back to the gym, maybe not Monday, maybe next week. It's not more. I'm not more the champion of the world. I'm gonna try to feel that again. Maybe in December versus Joshua.
Speaking of, He steps into the octagon tonight. And I think that was the first time that we saw you smile, was when he walked in, right? And then you guys face off. He is 23 years old. You saw how dangerous he was tonight in a firefight. What was going through your head when he stepped in there and you know that he's the next man up?
That's my biggest challenge in whole my life, a young kid, hungry, that's so crazy. This guy fought 1 month ago. He fought 1 month ago.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Yes.
And then make this fight with the rival, with #1 contender. Psst, that's crazy, and now he have opportunity to fight for the belt. He deserve. I say that before. He got the gold ticket from Willy Wonka, He got the ticket because when Manel Cap's out, he say, I'm here, I have the ticket. And he put inside of the octagon, fight with Brandon Royval. Is a tough opponent. What I think, Royval makes some mistake, he tried to rush too much, and give the Josh Van some good situations. And Josh Van take advantage of that, And of course, I'm smile, When I'm in the octagon, I have this challenge, Josh Van is so fresh. He don't make wars like I did before, I'm fighting to hold my division, And he had this opportunity with 23 years. When I have 23, I'm living in Arraial do Cabo. That's my hometown in Brazil. Maybe that's when I started with my wife. In that time, I'm the clean dishes in the restaurant, And the guy have 23 in UFC right now. That's so crazy. I hope I have a good camp. I have a good time. Maybe I'm back to fight here in December. I love to fight in Las Vegas. I feel Elvis Presley all the time. I'm back to Las Vegas to fight. And especially here in the Coliseo, this arena, remember the Coliseo, when you see outside, you see all the gold. That's amazing atmosphere, I love to come here to Vegas to fight. And this new opponent, this new challenger for me, is not more rematch. Different guy, different country. My big challenge in my whole career.
It is going to be a fight that everybody is looking forward to, and hopefully it goes down in December in Vegas as you are hoping for, and maybe moving on up in those pound-for-pound rankings. I think after this performance, you should be, my friend.
I deserve too. And maybe another Renee choke.
That's what I'm talking about.
That would be your 10th.
Yeah?
That would be your 10th if you did it again.
Yeah, you
so
see.
Why not round it out at the end
when
of
I
the year?
fight here with the Kai Asakura, neither choke. Now I fight with the Kai Kara France, another neither choke. Let's see what's happening with Joshua.
Do we know his middle name? Is it Kai? I hope not.
Oh, I hope so.
I'm just kidding.
12 submission
Alexandre.
finishes, your 4th title defense. Congratulations, champion. Thanks
Thank
for
you, guys.
taking some time with us.
I hope you're back soon here. Thank
right.
you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
And still flyweight champion of the world, Alexandre Pantoja. If you want to celebrate his win, you can grab one of his winner tees or all the other great merch from UFC 317 at the UFC store. Dan, what a guy. I mean, what a champion. Someone who takes on anyone put in front of him. No complaints, no questions asked. Faced off with Joshua Van, his likely next opponent, in the octagon tonight. I mean, we just saw so much from Alexandre, and there's a lot to unpack from that interview, huh?
He was great. He was really honest and open, and it was the first time that he had talked about that staph infection. And to have that 3 weeks out and the fluid in the lungs, and the one question I wished I would have asked him is, at what point in camp was he right again? Maybe it was 5 days out. Maybe it was a week out, right?
Maybe it was tonight. I mean, honestly.
It's crazy.
A staph infection 3 weeks out, for people who don't know, that means you're not training. Not at full capacity, at least.
Right.
You can't endanger your training partners. You can't really go to the gym because then you're risking everyone at American Top Team, which obviously he wouldn't do. Then also your body is fighting off a very serious infection. So like he said, he had a fever, fluid in the lungs. There's so much more to it that Pantoja tonight could have been at 50 or 60% for all we know. We didn't ask
Which is
him.
which
But
is
that's
crazy.
crazy to think about, that person at not 100% still was able to do that to Kai Kara-France, someone who is just such a game opponent, so durable, has been in the UFC for so long, and it just really speaks to how good he is.
And how good his coaches are, right? Because if you're drawing up a game plan, that's exactly what you were drawn up. right? What we saw from Pantoja tonight. And he executed to perfection, whether he was 50% or 75% or 90%. He did enough to get it done and defend his title for a fourth time. And I cannot wait for this next fight against Joshua Van. The fact that he was there sitting octagon side, walked in, got the stare down after his performance tonight. Joshua Van is 23 years old.
Yep.
And it was less than a year ago that he was knocked out by Charles Johnson. And now he finds out that he's going to be fighting for the title. He might be 24 by the time the fight rolls around, but he has the chance to become one of the youngest champions in UFC history.
Yeah, and I interviewed him after, for the fight after the Charles Johnson fight. He had such a chip on his shoulder. He was so pissed. And to think, 2 years and 4 days ago, he made his UFC debut, okay? Alexandre Pantoja became flyweight champion just over 2 years ago. So the rise that he's had, 6 fights in under 365 days, saying yes to everything. He got the call for this fight the day after UFC 316. I don't even know if he was home yet. And he said, yeah, sure.
Let's go.
I'll do it. And that speaks so much to the championship mindset and what's required to become champion. All of those risks is what gets you there. And that's what gets you there quicker than anyone else, especially at 23, maybe by December, 24 years old. I mean,
well, and think about this too. So Pantoja didn't have a full healthy fight camp. Van had a fight camp that was all of 21 days, maybe less, right? Because he might not have jumped right in the day after his last fight. So this next one is going to be so fun because hopefully they're both healthy and have full fight camps to prepare for one another.
I can't wait to see it. And I think the build-up, they respected each other a lot, you could tell, but they had a really intense face-off. I mean, they got in the octagon, they hugged, then they faced off, and they got so close, and the look in both of their eyes, like, I got goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh, what a perfect Christmas gift.
I know.
Would that be if it is in December, indeed, here in Las Vegas? I mean, you couldn't set a better stage for a fight like this one, especially with the lead-up and the way that this came together. It's amazing.
Yeah, Josh Van is he's a special kid, and I think you could tell talking to Pantoja the respect that he had for Joshua Van, right? Obviously there's a mutual respect there, but then he talked about, when I was 23 years old, I'm washing dishes, and this guy is fighting for a UFC title.
And they both have similar things that they're fighting for. They both have a lot of motivation in life from their family, and we caught up with Josh Van, got to talk to him about it.
Joshua Van, what a night, man. 23 years old. You're going to be fighting for a title.
Oh.
You have a stare down with the champion in the octagon. What has this been like for you, man?
It's just me and my coach. We've been talking about it. This is a life-changing moment, God is a great planner, and everything happened for a reason.
2 years and 4 days ago, you made your UFC debut.
Yes.
And in your 10th UFC fight, you could be fighting for a title. I mean, I know you just kind of answered the question, but when you hear that and you think about it and your career is put into perspective, you started training 5 years ago. I mean, it's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, I was only training 5 years ago, but I was fighting in the street since I was, since I was a young kid. So fighting was just in my blood and things like that. So it wasn't like nothing news to me.
I think we saw that tonight, the fighting in the blood, that's for sure. I mean, really just a crazy fight from the first bell, and it lasted through the entire 15 minutes. What's going through your mind, if you can remember, and what were the things that your corner was telling you in between the rounds?
My corner was telling me not to rush, you know what I mean? I heard him a couple of times in the first round, and I think even in the second round. Sometimes I like to rush things, and that's when I get caught. So they was telling me to calm down and things like that. That's what we taking our times and, find our opening and things like that.
You fight more than McDonald's turns out Big Macs. I mean, you fought 3 weeks ago, and you get the call for this fight the day after.
Yeah.
And this is your 6th fight in a year. How are you able to be so active?
I get bored when I stay at home, so I gotta, I'll probably I'm gonna go home, take a couple of days off, and then back to the gym, so just staying active make me a better person, a better human, because I don't go out and doing like all this that caused me trouble and things like that. So I just like to stay in the gym and better my life.
Dana said on Thursday, basically said that this was a title eliminator. The winner of your fight would be fighting for the title. Did you know that when they asked you to fight 3 weeks ago?
I didn't know, but I was expecting it because I feel like if I beat the number one, like there's no one to fight, right? So like as soon as they called me, you know, I was busy doing something. I was like, hey man, yes, but talk to my coach. And then Daniel Pineda called my manager and he was like, we take the fight. And as soon as Daniel was like, hey man, I said yes. I was like, yes, title next. So that was just in my head, you know what I mean? So nobody say anything, but I just think I deserve it. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
And then to hear Dana actually say it on Thursday, though, I mean, just 48 hours out from the fight, did that change anything in you? Did you feel any sort of pressure, even if you were expecting it, to hear your boss say, whoever wins this fight will fight for the title next?
There's no pressure. I don't like to put pressure to myself because, like, even okay, he said that, but like, if I don't win the fight, there's no title fight. You know what I mean? So I don't like to think those type of things to put myself on like to put pressure on myself. You know what I mean? But so I just stay calm, take naps, and you know, having fun with my teammates and things like that. So yeah.
When you were in the octagon,
Yeah.
it was the first time Alexandre smiled. He got really serious after he won.
Yeah.
And he smiled, and then you guys had the stare down. What was that energy like when you're staring the champ right in his eyes?
I think he got respect from me, man. It was just all a show. You know, he know what he signed up for, and I know what I signed up for. So it was just a respect thing. That was it. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, he trying to feed his family, doing this fighting stuff. You know what I mean? I'm trying to take care of my mom, doing this thing. You know what I mean? So we basically fight for our family. So you know what I mean? Whenever he's ready, I'll be ready. So.
Did you expect the volume between you and Royval in this fight? There were 344 significant strikes landed, which is the most ever for a 3-round fight.
Yeah.
He also attempted 467, which is a UFC record.
That is crazy. I knew he was going to get tired. You know what I mean? So I knew what I was signing up for, but I thought I was going to finish him. Really, I thought I was going to finish him, but he's tough, and he got them sneaky power. Like, just when I thought, I was like, oh, he don't hit hard. You know what I mean? And then I walked forward, and then he hit me with some uppercuts or things like that. I was like, oh, shit, I got it backed up. You know what I mean? That was the first time I ever bleed, I think. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was a good experience.
I think it's extremely rare that someone gets to sit octagon side and watch the fight of the person they'll be fighting next. So I'm just curious to know, while this fight between Pantoja and Kai was going on, I mean, what did you see, and how much does it build your confidence to be able to sit that close and maybe hear the punches and how they land and hear what's going on inside the octagon?
Man, Kai, I have so much respect for him, but he's not Joshua Van. You know what I mean? Like I said, when they fought the champion, they fought him scared or nervous, or, you know what I mean? Like, just too much respect. And when you fight someone with like too much respect, you can't win. You know what I mean? So kill or be killed.
I think there's only one Joshua Van.
Yes.
I think that
only
is
one.
For certain. That is absolutely for sure.
Well, and there's only one fighter in the UFC from Myanmar, and now there could be one champion in the next few months from Myanmar.
The first Asian male UFC champion, first Myanmar UFC champion, right?
Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It's all nice, man. That's all I need, right? So I'm gonna go back there, get better, and me and the champ gonna fight.
Just 23 years old, dude. Congratulations. It was so fun to watch you fight tonight, and I can't wait to see you step into the octagon and fight for a title.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Well, Dan Tops is making a trading card from this evening from one of the insane moments. I think there's about 15 from that fight between Joshua Van and Brandon Royval. And if there isn't one that they can choose, they can definitely use the two of us, our reaction at the end of that fight.
Oh! That's it! That's enough. I don't care what happens. It's over. Wow. Joshua Van is going to be fighting for a title. Wow.
You guys can stay locked in at Tops on social media and sign up for notifications on tops.com so that you don't miss a drop. You can find out what moment is on the trading card on UFC Unfiltered this Monday. If there weren't enough words there aren't enough words to describe how impressive Joshua Van was, how impressive his rise to this potential title shot has been, and how excited I am.
Well, so his last fight was, 3 weeks ago? And going into that fight, he was ranked 14th. And going into this fight, he was ranked 12th. And on Monday, he will be the number one contender in the division facing Pantoja for the title at 23 years old. And you could see the emotion when he was talking about that stare down. And the one thing he said that really resonated is, I think he respects me.
I think he respects me. And I also said, what'd you learn from this fight, right? I learned that, Kai fought maybe a little scared. But Kai is no Joshua Van. And I was like, ooh, that's a lot of confidence for a 23-year-old. Yeah. Quick rise to a title shot. It's unbelievable to say. Someone else who is looking for a quick rise to a shot at the lightweight title, Beneil Dariush, looked so good. So good to see him back in the win column, back in the octagon after a year and a half. I mean, he looked really incredible.
Well, and it was a comeback, right? So he hasn't been in the octagon in a year and a half, as you said. He's coming off back-to-back losses, now against a couple of killers too, right? But he said it was going to take him a while to kind of get comfortable in there again. And then he got knocked down in the first round, and then he implemented that grappling-heavy game plan that he talked about in fighter meetings, literally to perfection in the second and third rounds, because he was down after round one, and then he came back to win the second 2 rounds.
So durable, such a veteran. I think we saw a lot of that come through. And Renato Moicano, a veteran as well, but you could see Beneil really kind of lean on that veteran status of his, really had to dig deep. He was a little critical, as any martial artist would be, but we caught up with Beneil Dariush after this big win.
Beneil, what a performance after getting knocked down there in the first round to come back and get that victory. And oh, by the way, your first fight in a year and a half. You said it was going to take a while to kind of get in fight mode and feel it out. What was it like, and when did you know that you were feeling it out?
I just, after getting dropped, I was just pissed. I wasn't even thinking about like game plan winning or what. I was just like, hey, I'm going to get this guy. I never really got him, which pissed me off.
I don't know when you wrote this into your bio, but your bio says that one of your favorite techniques isn't really a technique, but it's the feeling of someone breaking under your pressure.
Yeah, I didn't get that today.
You didn't feel it at all at any point?
I didn't feel like he broke. He never gave up, was fighting hard in the third, and he pressured me in the third. I won the rounds, but I didn't break him next time.
What do you think is the biggest thing that you learned about yourself then in this one?
Not as good as I thought I was. So work harder, be better, don't give up, all that.
That's your takeaway after this fight, is that you still have work to do.
Yeah, that was, I'm also a coach, and I would be proud of who had the same performance, but I would have a lot of criticism. I'm not going to sit here and be proud of my performance because I'm not a young fighter. I'm an older fighter, so it's a little different. I would be proud of a young man who did this, but an older, more seasoned guy, I expect him not to make these stupid mistakes, so I'm upset with myself.
I think it's also important to note, and for people watching maybe to understand, that this fight was originally booked for January. Yeah. Spending an additional 5 months thinking about a person, training for a person, I mean, it could wear on you, but yeah. What was the silver lining of this? Was there anything additional that you were happy you got to work on?
Just that I know I'm still a fighter. There's that, dog in me. The fact that I didn't do what I was supposed to do in the first round. A lot of the game plan was already takedowns, starting in the first, not in the second. I should have shot earlier on in the first, but I was so I was almost like, hey, I got this. This kind of feels almost easy. I'm not going to be tired if I fight like this, and so I didn't do a good job. And then in the second round, that was actually the fights. That was supposed to be the fight. Pressure with the takedowns, and then if it doesn't work, put the hands together. Pressure with the takedowns, put the hands together. She's like, yeah, exactly. She knows what's up. She's been there the whole time, so she's not happy either with me.
Well, you fought some absolute killers before this fight, and Armand and Charles, and you look at before that winning 8 in a row. I mean, you've now won 9 of your last 11 fights, and I know you didn't call anybody out after this one, but when you look up in the rankings, is there anybody that you would like to face in the near future?
I haven't really looked at the rankings just because, like I said, like picking fights hasn't really been my thing. It's just getting ready to fight. That's what I love. I know I want to get to the title quicker, so I would like somebody ranked higher. I'm going to talk to Hunter and my manager and see what's up. But I think guys like Dan Hooker are ranked higher than me. I know guys, Gamrot's ranked higher than me, but we already fought. Guys, give me some names, man.
Patty's up there. Patty's at 8.
If Patty's
right
ranked
you.
ahead, I'll that's fine. Perfectly acceptable. He's a great fighter. I always want to fight Dustin Poirier, but he's going to be retiring. Max Holloway's a guy, like, we came up together. Like, I don't really want to fight Max Holloway just because of I've been watching and been a fan of him for so long. But if that's a fight that's available, obviously I want that. I would love to redeem my losses, have an opportunity to get a fight with those guys. Like, all these things are on the table. I'm perfectly fine with them. So I just want to see what the UFC has planned and go from there.
Yeah. There's not a lot of guys above you. You mentioned almost all of them. It's Gaethje at 3, and then Oliveira and Armand who you face, both of those guys. So
yeah, I'd love to get some rematches. I've only had rematches against guys I beat, which is only one. Wow.
She's getting feisty.
She really likes the water. Yeah, she likes the water. Lily, brati, shuk papa.
So what's next for you in the next week or so when you get back to SoCal?
Bro, I know I'm going to get back to my room. I'm going to keep brooding over this first round. I'm going to have my family come over, and then we're going to go eat somewhere nearby, see as many fans as I can since they all came out here. International Fight Week's really special. It really is, man. Imagine all these people, they come here for this. I want to get to as many as I can since I was trying to avoid them at this point. That's my game plan for today and tomorrow, just seeing family and friends. And then Monday, I want to get back to teaching and yelling at myself for the mistakes I made. One of the biggest mistakes I made right there is going to a seatbelt grip when I should have stayed on the body lock. Things like that. I'm gonna reinforce that in myself, just like I do in my fighters. So things like that. Those are on the agenda. Obviously, my wife's gonna want to go on a vacation. If you guys know anywhere nice, yeah, let me know. But I'm kind of a homebody, and she doesn't like that.
You live in Southern California, man. I mean, you can just. You can go down to San Diego. You can go up to Santa Barbara. There's a lot of places within driving distance.
Yeah, but you guys haven't seen my new gym. It's beautiful. I got a recovery center. I'm going to have a coffee bar soon. I don't really want to leave that place. My kids play on the side. I train all day, and then right afterwards, I play with my kids. It's like that's my vacation. Like, this is why I love this job, man. It's the best job in the world. I get to wake up, kiss my kids, hang out with them, go to the gym. I get to beat up my friends. I get done, give them all a high five. Afterwards, I get to play with my kids again. They take a nap. I take a nap. I get to do it all over again at night. Like, you can't beat this. This is, like I say, if you asked me when I was 20, like, hey, where do you think you're going to be? I tell you this. I'm either going to be really successful or I'll be done, When the word success come into mind, I never thought I'd own a gym. I thought I'd be able to have a family, kids, and have the opportunity to help others. Those were never part of the plan. I was so selfish in my younger days. So that's why I don't need vacations. Home is my vacation.
Well, we're all a little selfish, man. But I'm telling you what, if you're worried about what defines success, I think you certainly achieved it in this sport and in life. And don't be so hard on yourself. You sound like a coach, man. Be a fighter for a minute. You won. This was the second and third round. Tremendous performances to come back and win this.
I want to be a champion, and a good performance is a perfect performance.
Beneil Dariush, congratulations. Thanks, man. Appreciate the time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me and Lily.
So we did our best to try to find a opponent for Beneil Dariush in the near future. Time will tell to see who he ends up fighting next. But listen, he had that 8-fight win streak. He lost 2 in a row. Now he's back on the winning side once again. And he looked good after getting knocked down early. And you could see how He really did sound like a coach, right? Like he was so disappointed in himself. What was the specific thing he did that he said was?
He said, I had a seatbelt grip when I should have had, and then I don't remember, maybe a leg or something. He was trying to go for something, but just like the details that he's aware of minutes after a fight. I mean, he was thinking it in the octagon. Why do I have this seatbelt grip? Why don't I have this instead? I hope Beneil can take some time, look back on this. I mean, he's going to be his own worst critic. He's a true martial artist, and but hopefully recognize this win as what it is, a win, getting him in the right direction, getting him back toward that title shot. And sometimes the level of thought that goes into these fights, I mean, I couldn't imagine what it's like to come away not feeling great about it and then having to think about it all the time. But, we'll see where Beneil goes from here.
Well, it sounds like his wife wants to take a vacation, and I don't know if she's going to get one because Beneil's getting his ass right back in the gym, it sounds like, right? He has a lot of stuff that he wants to work on. It's going to be interesting to see if Payton Talbott gets back into the gym right away. He had a remarkable performance coming off of that loss against Raoni Barcelos when he just got out wrestled. And he was undefeated going in. He was on a little bit of a rocket ship. He felt like a made man, like the UFC, kind of had that promotional machine behind him. And it was a reality check for him. And a lot of people did not feel like he could make the improvements necessary in 6 months in wrestling and grappling. And he absolutely did.
I mean, he looked incredible, so well-rounded. And the defense to the grappling and the transitions that we saw, it looked like it was his specialty. There were so many things that you saw, Granby rolls, just like
great sprawls.
So many things that you really can't learn in just 6 months or 5 months unless you are a truly exceptional athlete with such a high fight IQ. And that's what we see from Payton Talbott every time he enters the octagon. Yeah. We were able to catch up with him.
Payton Talbott kind enough to join us now and take a little well-deserved sip of water after that win. A lot of guys talk about improving an area of weakness and working on it in camp. And not everybody's able to apply that once you get into the octagon under the lights. And you could see the improvement from the jump for you. What exactly did you do? Who did you bring in? And how were you able to get so much better in the grappling space in just 6 months? Because a lot of people didn't think you could do it.
I just took that loss to heart. Took it pretty seriously. I spent more time around my people at Reno Academy of Combat. And just like my team, we didn't really bring anybody specific in. And we just worked the fundamentals in that way. And I got some knowledge here and there from people around town and in California, but the biggest thing was just being around my people in my hometown more.
Yeah, and taking the loss to heart. I mean, in a way, I would imagine some freedom comes from the first loss, right? You can get through it. No freedom at all, because I would say it looked like you were having so much fun in there. And for someone to come back and bounce back from a loss the way that you did and be able to have fun and smile while you're shaking Falima off your back in the second round, I mean, it really showed.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's freedom now that I've won, but I didn't say much, but coming back from a loss is a motherfucker. You just like doubt yourself, I guess. And you don't really know. It's like when you're climbing super high and you look down and all of a sudden you realize there's gravity. But now I feel much more free having come back from that.
Yeah, and with the confidence that it was building throughout, really each second of the fight, I'm curious to know how much confidence compounded each time you were able to really neutralize one of those grappling exchanges.
A little bit. I just came in really confident. Honestly, if you watched my fight back in January when I lost to Raoni, I was learning as the fight went on. Until the third round when I had that vertigo happen. But I was incrementally learning as the fight went on. So I just carried that throughout my camp.
Timing's everything in life, right? And you had this loss really early in your UFC career. It seems like just yesterday I saw you on Contender Series and you were on an absolute rocket ship. And to get that loss under your belt, to learn how to come back from that at this stage in your career has to be incredibly important.
Yeah, super. I think Volk said it best. It's adversity is just an opportunity for a I think you said just an opportunity or something.
Privilege.
But yeah, it's a privilege.
privilege.
Yeah, adversity is a privilege, and I just looked at this fight that way, and I think it was super good timing because if I had have won that fight back in January, I think I would have just gotten away with shortcuts a little bit, and it kind of taught me a good lesson.
You talk about eliminating the distractions. How did you do that, and what were the distractions?
Oh, it's just, I mean, I just have a lot of passions. I like to do a lot of stuff outside of fighting, and I think I just came to terms with the fact that I'm young and I'm going to have the rest of my life to do a lot of things. And although I'll still do it to keep my mind free, I need to prioritize fighting as the thing that I'm doing right now because it isn't a game. Like, we're trying to hurt each other.
Yeah,
So-
and you can see with all of your brain power, like you learned so much on the fly. A very cerebral fighter, and I know we use that word a lot, but like you can see the data entering your mind, and you're turning it out and figuring, okay, what adjustments do I make in order to capitalize on what I've learned? What were the biggest adjustments that you saw?
I think it was just putting more of my mind into fighting. I just can spread myself so thin across a bunch of different things that if I used all of that brain power for the time I was at the gym just to focus and train and my mind wasn't anywhere else, then like I could pretty much achieve anything, I feel like. So it was just being present when I needed to be present.
Some guys take a week off. Some guys take a day off. What are you going to do the next few days?
I'll probably celebrate a little and then definitely going to be back before the end of the year. But I mean, I'm young. There's still a lot of improvements to be made. So I'm just going to keep my head down and keep grinding.
And you called out Adrian Yanez. We love that one. Really two high-level strikers, I think, and lots of well-roundedness from you tonight. Where do you think you have the edge, and why does that make the most sense for you to challenge yourself against next?
I think it's just a fun fight. Like, I like the way he fights. We're both hard hitters, and we like to box. And, you know, I'd pick me any day of the week just because I'm young, and I'll learn from now till then. But I just heard that he, like, got booked for something soon, maybe. So we'll see each other eventually. There's some other names maybe I'll get at.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually have a couple of names that I want to throw out at you that are ranked guys. Okay, at the bottom of the top 15. Vinicius Oliveira, Montel Jackson, Kyler Phillips. Do any of those names interest you?
We're really putting you on the spot.
I know of them. I haven't watched too much film, but
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to run from anybody. Like, I'm here to fight. So whatever logistically lines up and matchup wise, yeah, I'm down.
Well, I think we know you're not going to run from anybody. Payton Talbott improving to 4-1 in the UFC. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
So the fight of the night, not a big surprise. It's Royval and it's Van. The performance bonuses, again, no big surprise. Ilia gets one and Gregory Rodriguez gets the other. Now, if you're talking about somebody who won the night, maybe this the most important fight of their career to date. I know it might not make a ton of sense, but I'm going with the guy we just heard from, right? Payton Talbott was undefeated. He lost his last fight. If he were to lose this one and lose 2 in a row after being on that rocket ship and pushed by the UFC, who knows? His career could be in a downward spiral, but he's right back to where he was. He's obviously a guy who comes in with this incredible fight IQ. You saw the skill in there, and you made a great point. It almost looked like he was a wrestler, like that was his background and that was his base. So in my mind, he was really one of the big winners tonight.
The big thing about adversity in the sport is that you are defined by how you respond to it. And he quoted Volk, adversity is a privilege. He took this as a privilege and an opportunity to get better. And if you can do that after your first loss, which is arguably the hardest one to swallow, then you can move on and you can apply that same mindset, those same lessons learned with anything that might get thrown your way. Hopefully. We'll see. I think big things for Payton Talbott in the future. If I may, though, we didn't even get to touch on the prelims. I would say 6 fights, 4 finishes, 3 in the first round. I was super impressed with Jacoby Smith, super happy for Terrence McKinney and Jose Miguel Delgado. I mean, those are 3 that just stuck out in my mind. 2 from Contender Series.
Yeah. And by the way, Delgado in 26 seconds T-Rex in 55 seconds. I mean, these happen with a quickness.
Yeah. And Jacoby Smith, first win by submission.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him and all of our big winners tonight. Guys, thanks so much for watching. This has been UFC 317's edition of About Last Fight, and we'll catch you next month in New Orleans for UFC 318.
See you in Nolans.